Welcome back, everyone, to another deeply crucial update on the ever-evolving, always dramatic, and highly passionate landscape of Philippine basketball. If you are a fan of Gilas Pilipinas, if you are a follower of the domestic league, or if you simply appreciate the intricate chess match of international basketball competition, you need to pay close attention to what we are about to unpack today. We are looking at a trio of developments that, on the surface, might seem like isolated headlines, but when woven together, they reveal the absolute master plan and the intense growing pains of our national team program under the legendary coach Tim Cone. Today, we are breaking down the monumental implications of Kai Sotto's very first practice back with the national squad, an arrival that carries the weight of an entire nation's expectations. We are also going to dissect the critical confirmation that Ange Kouame has been officially approved and integrated, bringing a much-needed defensive anchor and relentless rebounding presence to a front line that has desperately needed fortification. And finally, we will unpack the most talked-about, controversial, and ultimately redemptive storyline of the week, the sensational drama between converged rising star Juan Gomez de Liano and coach Tim Cone. We will explore how a staggering 32-point career-high performance, a broken unwritten rule, a fiercely damaged ego in the heat of competition, and a late-game layup transformed into one of the most surprising and earned Gilas call-ups in recent memory. This is not just a standard news update. This is a comprehensive evaluation of the architecture of Gilas Pilipinas as they navigate the unforgiving road of the FIBA World Cup Asian qualifiers. The stakes could not possibly be higher. The Philippines recently suffered a slight dip in the FIBA World Rankings, sliding down to number 37 after a grueling FIBA Asia Cup campaign, and coach Tim Cone has explicitly stated his absolute mandate to break back into the top 30, then the top 25, and reestablish the Philippines as an undisputed, modernized powerhouse on the global stage. Achieving that goal requires a delicate alchemy of towering youth, battle-tested naturalized reinforcements, and domestic prodigies who are hungry to prove their worth. Kai Sotto stepping onto the practice floor is the physical embodiment of the program's future. Ange Kouame getting the green light is a tactical safety net that allows the perimeter players to gamble and apply pressure. And Juan Gomez de Liano earning his stripes through sheer offensive brilliance against a very coach who now commands a national team is a testament to the absolute meritocracy that Tim Cone is trying to build. We're going to look at the X's and O's, the locker room dynamics, the historical context of the triangle offense, and what these three specific roster movements mean for the upcoming international windows against heavyweights like Australia, New Zealand, and Guam. Settle in, because we are diving deep into the heart of Gilas Pilipinas, where every practice repetition matters, every roster spot is a battleground, and every headline shapes the destiny of Philippine hoops. Let us begin by dissecting the cornerstone of the national program, Kai Sotto. The phrase Kai Sotto's first practice is never just a passing note in a sports column. It is an event. When a 7'3" center, armed with international experience from the Australian NBL and the Japanese B-League, walks into a Gilas Pilipinas training camp, the entire gravitational pull of the offense shifts. For coach Tim Cone, a master tactician whose legendary career has been built on the foundations of the triangle offense, having a player of Sotto's magnitude is both an incredible luxury and a complex puzzle. The triangle offense traditionally relies on a highly mobile, passing big man who can operate out of the high post, read cutting lanes, and execute dribble handoffs with surgical precision. Sotto is not just a traditional back-to-the-basket bruiser. He possesses a soft touch from the perimeter and increasingly high basketball IQ. His first practice with this specific iteration of the Gilas pool is critical because the team is currently managing the absences of veteran stalwarts. With frontline depth challenged by injuries and availability issues from players like A.J. Edu, Troy Rosario, and Japeth Aguilar, Sotto is no longer just a young prodigy waiting in the wings. He is expected to be the immediate focal point of the interior defense and the primary rim runner in transition. Observers at the camp have noted the immediate chemistry he is being asked to develop with the guards. In the international game, where European and Oceania teams execute ruthless pick-and-roll coverages, Sotto's ability to set heavy screens, roll hard to basket, or pop for a mid-range jumper is a key to unlocking the floor for the shooters. This first practice is about establishing the verbiage of the defense, understanding where the help side rotation comes from, and adapting to the intense, exhausting pace that Coach Kouame demands. Sotto represents the youth movement, a core of players aged 24 and under that the coaching staff believes will peak precisely when the next major World Cup cycle arrives. Moving on to the second crucial piece of our analysis, the approval and integration of Ange Kouame. When the news broke that Kouame was approved and ready to roll with the Healers pool, a collective sigh of relief could be felt across the coaching staff. International basketball is a brutal, physical grind. It is a game of attrition where the paint is heavily contested, and offensive rebounds can completely break the spirit of a defending team. Kouame is a proven commodity. He brings a distinct, rugged utility to the floor that perfectly complements the finesse and height of Kai Sotto or Karl Tamayo. Kouame's approval means that Healers has a legitimate, elite-level rim protector who does not demand a high volume of offensive touches to be effective. In Tim Kouame's defensive schemes, having a player who can seamlessly switch on to guards in a pinch, recover to block shots from the weak side, and secure the defensive glass to ignite the fast break is invaluable. Kouame understands the Philippine basketball culture intimately. He knows the expectations, he understands the physicality of the Asian qualifiers, and he provides a veteran-like stability despite still being relatively young. The approval of his participation allows Coach Kouame to experiment with jumbo lineups, potentially playing Sotto and Kouame together in stretches to absolutely dominate the rebounding battle against smaller, quicker teams, or staggering their minutes to ensure that there is always a towering, intimidating presence in the paint for all 40 minutes of the game. Now, we must transition to the most fascinating cinematic storyline of this news cycle, the saga between Juan Gomez de Liano and Coach Tim Kouame. If you read the headlines, you saw words like Napacon, upset, and damaged. You saw narratives of disrespect and fractured egos. But to truly understand the situation, we have to look at the timeline of events. It all started in the PBA Philippine Cup, where Juan Gomez de Liano, playing for the Converge Fiberzers, orchestrated an absolute masterpiece against Coach Tim Kouame's Barangay Ginebra Gin Kings. Gomez de Liano was unstoppable, slicing through the Ginebra defense, hitting from deep, and ultimately dropping a career-high 32 points on an incredibly efficient 13 of 16 shooting. He led his team to a decisive 106-96 victory. However, the controversy ignited in the dying seconds of the game, with the outcome already decided and the clock winding down, a situation where the unwritten rules of basketball dictate that the winning team simply dribbles out the clock. Gomez de Liano took it to the hoop for a final, late layup. Coach Tim Kouame, a fierce competitor and a staunch traditionalist when it comes to the unwritten rules of respect on the hardwood, was visibly upset. The optics suggested a damaged relationship, a rookie showing up a legendary coach. But this is where the genius and the absolute professionalism of Tim Kouame come into play. Instead of harboring a grudge, instead of letting personal pride dictate his professional judgment, Coach Kouame looked at the tape. He looked at the 32 points, the 6 rebounds, the 6 assists, and the absolute fearlessness of a young guard. Just days after that heated exchange on the PBA floor, while Gomez de Liano was resting at the beach with his brothers, his phone rang. It was Tim Kouame, and he wasn't calling to lecture him about the late layup. He was calling to invite him to the Gilas Pilipinas training camp for the FIBA World Cup Asian qualifiers. Coach Kouame addressed the media and stated unequivocally that Juan Gomez de Liano looked like the absolute best player in the league that night. He called him a revelation. This is a massive testament to the culture Kouame is building. It is a culture where talent, performance, and defensive tenacity outweigh temporary friction. When Gomez de Liano entered the Gilas camp, he admitted he was stepping into a highly complex environment. The triangle offense is notoriously difficult for point guards to master. It requires giving up the ball early, relocating, making post-entry passes from specific angles, and reading the defense without a predetermined play call. While Gomez de Liano ultimately missed the final 12-man cut for that specific international window, the narrative is far from over. Coach Kouame made it abundantly clear that cutting Juan was one of the toughest decisions he had to make, strictly due to his lack of familiarity with the triangle system compared to returning veterans. But Kouame went on the record to guarantee that Gomez de Liano is a future Gilas player and a fixture for the national team moving forward. He emphasized that this camp was about laying the foundation, teaching him the terminology, and building his confidence. For Juan, who had been cut from the national pool 3 times before in his career, this wasn't a rejection. It was a graduation. It was the ultimate validation that his game has matured to the international standard. As we wrap up this extensive deep dive into the state of Gilas Pilipinas, the overarching theme is crystal clear: evolution through adversity and preparation. The integration of Kai's Sotto in his first practice signifies the unwavering commitment to a towering, skilled future. The approval of Ange Kouame provides a gritty, defensive backbone required to survive the trench warfare of FIBA competition. And the dramatic, ultimately inspiring arc of Juan Gomez de Liano proves that the door to the national team is always open to those who demand it through their performance, even if it means ruffling the feathers of the head coach along the way. Coach Tim Cohn is not just assembling a group of talented individuals. He is attempting to build a self-sustaining ecosystem of basketball excellence. He has openly spoken about the delicate balance between winning right now and developing the youth for tomorrow. He wants the older veterans to teach the younger core, players like Sotto, Carl Tamayo, and Kevin Kiambao, how to prepare, how to study film, and how to handle the crushing pressure of an entire country's expectations. When you combine that developmental mindset with the sheer talent pooling in these practices, you can see the blueprint for a team that aims to shock the world, climb back into the top 30 rankings, and secure their rightful place on the global stage. The road ahead is punishing. The Asian qualifiers do not offer easy nights, especially when staring down the barrel of matchups against oceanic powerhouses. But with the pieces we have analyzed today falling into place, the tactical versatility of this roster is expanding exponentially. The drama of the PBA is merely the crucible that forges the weapons Gilas will use internationally. Thank you for joining me on this incredibly detailed breakdown. If you appreciate this level of deep dive analysis, make sure to engage with the channel so we can continue bringing you the most comprehensive basketball coverage available.